Taylor Swift just blew our minds. She didn't stop at releasing one album. No, she graced us with two. And honestly, I can't shake Fortnite from my thoughts, nor do I ever want to. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Care Off Book. I know. If you're new here, hi, I'm Carolyn, but you could call me Care. And if you're not new, yes, I changed the name, okay? This channel used to be called Performance Perspective, but let me tell you, I went to a networking party to your girl's lonely, okay? I stay in my apartment, I'm scared to go out, and I was like, it's time to socialize, it's time to get out there. And so as I'm telling people, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, I talk about musicals, oh, my name's Carolyn, oh, the channel, it's called Performance Perspective, and guess what? They would not remember anything I said. They didn't remember the name. They didn't remember my name. And it did not feel good for me whenever I said that name. And I was like, you know what? I want to be excited about the name. So here we are. The name is the same as my Instagram handle. It's Care Off Book. And I'm excited because, listen, I will be, off book at times where it's like, I do want to continue talking about musicals. I want to talk about costumes. I want to talk about also different performers of what we can learn. Also, let me talk about like rom-coms and romantic shows. Like, anyone else excited about Bridgerton? Like, please. So yeah, that's the big update, name change. Speaking of names, as a lot of you know, I'm married, and that's not a secret, but it is private, but it's kind of annoying whenever I say, oh, my husband. So I decided we're going to name him, and his name is now the Professor. So thank you for hearing me out. Subscribe if you're like, yeah, that actually sounds like a good time. And let's get into the Taylor Swift of it all, okay? So on February 4th, 2024, Taylor Swift not only snagged the Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Album, but also Album of the Year for Midnights. During her heartfelt acceptance speech, she dropped a major surprise,
which is that my brand new album, it's called The Tortured Poets Department.
A brand new studio album titled The Tortured Poets Department. This gem has been in the works since 2022 and is set to dazzle us on April 19th, 2024. So yeah, it's already been here. So get ready, Swifties. Now, I must confess, I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie because I am a Katy Perry fan. That's right, I'm a Katy cat. And as you know, back then there was bad blood, and I was on Katy's side going, what? Swish, swish, bish. Then the Kim Kanye edited video happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, Taylor's kind of gross. Like, wow, did that not age well? That was despicable what they did. So even though I was not a fan, I still like some of her music. And when Reputation happened, listen, I remembered when the video dropped because Katy Perry was hosting the MTV Awards. And when it played, I was like, wow, not only was it a great song, but what an amazing marketing strategy. It was just so good. Anyways, I'm just happy that Katy Perry sent a literal olive branch to Taylor because the drama that they were going through back then is petty. It wasn't really that serious. And now they support each other, encourage each other, so we can all just go ahead and get along. So Taylor's double album dropped, and honestly, I'm the type who waits for a Swiftie to break down all the Easter eggs. It's just so fun and cool how the fan base dives deep into it, and Taylor is having fun too. But guess what? I've noticed a bunch of older guys having a lot to say about her music. I totally fell down the rabbit hole watching video after video from these middle-aged men who might just be more obsessed with Taylor than the Swifties themselves. It seems like they poke fun at her music, labeling it as something just for suburban white girls who drive their father's Jeep. I have to say, I've never met an older man who is a fan of Taylor Swift. So if you are middle-aged, male, and do like Taylor Swift, I would love to know your thoughts on why you like her when it seems that others do not. Which brings me to wondering why they hate her so much and if it's valid. Some blatant sexism might explain why some men can't seem to connect with Taylor Swift's music, though that's baffling since not all her songs center around relationships with men. It's puzzling, especially when you think about how people who appreciate real music, like classic rock and country from the 70s and 90s, they adore artists like Stevie Nicks and Pat Benatar, who are in many ways singer-songwriters akin to Taylor. Could it really be something about Taylor herself or her public image that stirs this disconnect? Let's dive into some football chat, shall we? On the Pat McAfee show, Travis Kelce shared that he invited Taylor Swift to one of his games, playfully noting he threw the ball in her court after her dazzling performance at Arrowhead Stadium during her Eras Tour in July 2023. Football fans and Swifties alike were thrown for a loop when Taylor made a surprise appearance at a Kansas City Chiefs game in September. She cheered on from Travis's suite alongside his mom Donna and was seen celebrating when Kelce scored a touchdown. Now, whenever I think of football, I usually picture older men. Although they're not the only fans, Taylor's presence at the games has definitely stirred up some chatter. Throughout the NFL season, Taylor Swift has certainly captured the attention of men across the country, sparking quite a bit of controversy. There were memes like, "I want to squirt hot sauce in my eye every time I see her on screen." To me, it's baffling. What is it about seeing her on TV that seems so painful for them? I think they just don't get it, and they seem almost offended by her presence, even if it's just 25 seconds during a broadcast they believe is tailor-made for them. The clash between two different fandoms is evident every time the Chiefs played. Now, some argue because, she's a distraction from the game. Swift's presence and her significant impact provoke a critical question for fans. Who is this game really for? Let's be honest, Taylor showing up at NFL games has less to do with her personally and more about the strategic move by the NFL. Let's be real. Ever since Taylor started attending games, the league's value has skyrocketed by $122 million in just a few months. But it's not just about the money. There's a fascinating demographic shift happening. There's been a significant increase in female viewership, transforming the traditionally male-dominated world of American football. We were seeing a whopping 53% rise in viewers aged 12 to 17 and 34% increase among those aged 19 to 24. Particularly young and teenage girls who didn't care about football are tuning in. So it's clear Taylor Swift isn't just a sideline show, she's bringing a whole new audience to the game. If NFL doesn't appreciate the Swift effect, I say let Taylor take her star power to Broadway, the West End, or even the big screen with some movie musicals. Hopefully, the good kind. Imagine all that. Swift-generated cash going towards paying performers, sprucing up sets, and glamming up costumes. Hey, NFL, if you're not careful, Taylor might just decide that the bright lights of Broadway beat your stadium lights any day. After all, a Tony can look just as shiny as a Super Bowl ring.
Hi, Swifties. We'll be with you all night. No.
Talking about football was a blast, but let's shift gears. Another reason grumpy old men seem to have it out for Taylor could be her music. It looks like they just can't get past her tunes when forming their opinions of her. Taylor Swift's music has been a rallying cry, spotlighting how men sometimes treat women in relationships. Starting from her fierce rebuke and Should Have Said No, her songs are a vibrant tapestry of female feelings and experiences resonating deeply with young women. She captures their perspectives perfectly, from the romantic sweep of Love Story to the heartache of All Too Well and the intimate revelations in Dress. Her music becomes a voice for many young women like Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, where she reflects on the regret of a relationship with an older man at 19. Although men might sympathize, these songs often strike a different chord with them, not resonating with their own values or experiences. I recently got swept up in the energy of the Eras Tours on Disney Plus in my living room, especially during The Man. As Taylor sings, "I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I get there quicker if I was a man." It strikes a nerve. It makes you wonder if it's lyrics like these that make some men uncomfortable. Rather than acknowledging male privilege, they dismiss Taylor as just another emotional artist singing about heartbreak. But let's set the record straight. Are Taylor's songs predominantly about breakups? Looking at her singles, on 15 out of 53 are breakup songs. That's just what, 28%? Meanwhile, there's a whole 72% that cover everything from haters and childhood to fan tributes. So it's not all about heartbreak with Taylor, despite what some critics might have you believe. Like, even if you look at her albums, okay, I'll try and make this fast. So,
Debut, out of 15 tracks, 4 songs are about breakups like Picture to Burn and Should Have Said No. That's about 27% of the album. Fearless, this one has 20 songs with 7 about breakups, including hits like White Horse and You're Not Sorry, making up about 35% of the album. Speak Now, of the 18 songs, 6 are breakup anthems such as Back to December and Dear John, tallying about 33%. Red, it tops our list with 9 out of 20 songs dealing with lost loves. Tracks like All Too Well and We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together contribute about 45% of the album. 1989, here's 6 out of 17 tracks explore breakups, including Wildest Dreams and Clean, amounting 35%. Reputation, a shift in narrative with only Getaway Car focusing on a breakup, a mere 6% of its 15 songs. Lover continuing the trend with just Death by a Thousand Cuts as its sole breakup track, about 5% of the 19 songs. Folklore, this album presents a more balanced view with 5 out of 16 tracks like Cardigan and Exile, weaving tales of breakups, roughly 31%.
oh gosh, I didn't even mention Midnights. Let's be real, every big star has their share of breakup songs, but the ones who truly stand out, they branch out into more diverse topics once they've nailed the formula and cultivated a loyal fan base. Taylor Swift churned out breakup tracks for a while, but as that narrative began to overshadow her true self, she smartly shifted gears. It seems like the critics just can't keep up, okay? Taylor has moved past those old stereotypes, leaving the negativity in the dust where it belongs. But hold on, maybe it's not her music that ruffles the feathers of grumpy old men. It could be the way Taylor Swift confidently presents herself and more. She defies the expected norms with a persona that's all about empowerment and authenticity, not fitting neatly into the boxes society often reserves for female artists. This refreshing defiance might just be what gets under their skin as she dances to the beat of her own drum, creating ripples far beyond her music. Taylor Swift's approach to her music and public persona has always sidestepped to the typical expectations shaped by the male gaze, which is refreshingly different compared to much of her peers' work. Her music rarely touches on sexual themes explicitly. I mean, even Vigilante, that performance, that was the closest thing to appealing to the male gaze, and it's quite tame. Taylor doesn't craft her image or her social media to lure that gaze either. Sure, she's stunning, but you won't find her posting thirst traps or wearing outfits just to be seen as sexy and provocative. The distinction between girl hot and guy hot comes into play here. She consistently chooses styles that resonate more with girl hot, catering to female admiration rather than the male approval. Moreover, Taylor writes her own songs, building a career that doesn't owe its success to any specific men or a backing band of guys. She's often been as famous, if not more famous, than the people she dates, debunking any notion that her fame is the byproduct of a more famous partner. In essence, nothing about Taylor Swift caters exclusively to men, from her lyrical themes to her public persona, from her visual art to her overall image. We live in a society where so much is expected to revolve around male interests, and Taylor disrupts this norm. She always aimed to connect with women and girls, sharing stories from a uniquely young female perspective. This approach, combined with her status as one of the most successful women globally, underscores an age-old issue: the intense scrutiny and misogyny faced by successful women. Taylor stands as a powerful example of how diverging from expected narratives can both challenge and redefine mainstream perceptions. Listen, I had a blast brainstorming why some grumpy old men just can't seem to vibe with Taylor Swift. Let's face it, maybe they're just not her target audience. Personally, I'm not exactly jamming out to Travis Scott, but you don't see me tuning in just to bash his tunes. I simply don't listen to it because it's not my cup of tea, and that's totally fine, right? Why make a fuss about something that's not even on your playlist? So I ended up making this video essay after stumbling upon a Ben Shapiro video. I don't usually click on his stuff, but curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear what he had to say, and you know what? I couldn't help but giggle through it because honestly, I think deep down he might just be a Swiftie.
Are you a secret Swiftie, Ben?
Right off the bat, the title, Not a Poet, had me cracking up. Should we tell him that Marvin Gaye really does know what's going on? Elton John isn't flying through space as Rocket Man, and David Bowie isn't just hunky-dory.
Who is hunky-dory?
He's also Ziggy Stardust. For someone who claims not to care about Taylor Swift's music, your content suggests otherwise. Ben typically leans on fear and anger to drive clicks on his videos. Given that he's known more as a political commentator, it really makes you wonder, what's Taylor doing on his channel? Well. Remember back in February, the whole GOP versus Taylor Swift saga? Republicans have consistently struggled to connect with young voters, mainly because they don't really make the effort. Democrats, on the other hand, have a strong hold on all pop culture avenues. So here's the gist. Conservatives are jittery that Taylor Swift might officially endorse Biden, leveraging her immense influence to mobilize and register female voters, which could significantly boost Biden's presidential chances, potentially flip the House, and help Democrats maintain control of the Senate. Hence, they're revving up the usual rhetoric about why pop stars should stay out of politics and keep politics out of sports. They were working themselves in such a frenzy that they were spinning conspiracy theories about Swift being a deep state plant. The theory goes that the NFL was going to be rigged for her current boyfriend's team to win the Super Bowl. Why? So she can endorse Biden on live TV during one of the most watched moments of the year, supposedly sealing the election for him. This is a wild scenario. This would require the complicity of both teams, billionaire owners, countless players, and the referees, all for a spectacle that could just as easily be accomplished if she simply echoed her support for Biden in her blockbuster tour movie. Swift's public stance on equality, abortion rights, and LGBTQ rights, critical issues for the young voters, only fuels their concern. People on the right worry that with Taylor backing Biden, the campaign could energize young voters in ways that, say, Ben Shapiro could never dream of. So it seems that these grumpy old men can't stand Taylor Swift because she's got it all: talent, looks, and the power. Qualities many of them lack. But hey, looking on the bright side, they've still got their male privilege, right? Imagine if Taylor decided to become a political commentator. She'd probably ace it. But could Ben Shapiro pull off a flourishing music career?
All my people download this, let's get a Billboard #1.
I'll let you be the judge of that.
I'm definitely not a secret Swiftie. Listen, I'm a rap legend, so frankly, that's not even my bag, yo.
So here's some of my final thoughts. I've given some of Taylor Swift's tracks a listen, and while I like some songs more than others, one thing's clear: she's a master storyteller. There's something undeniably poetic about how she spins her life experiences and those of the people around her into music that resonates deeply with listeners. Her songs become our songs. I find myself humming Shake It Off or Lavender Haze, not pondering why Taylor wrote them, but connecting to them in my own unique way. I'd love to know your thoughts about Taylor's new music. You could comment down below. And also, have you also noticed those grumpy old men who can't stop criticizing Taylor? It really makes you question whether their opinions hold any weight, or if it's just their insecurities showing. Now, I know that there are older men out there that are not insecure and love Taylor. Again, I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you're still here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and check out my other videos. I know that I made one with Taylor Swift saying, why can't there be more pro shots in theaters and stuff? So that episode was a fun one to make. And listen, your views and participation, it means a lot to me. It also does mean income, because listen, the professor was telling me that if I make enough money, we can adopt a cat. So thank you for listening, and take care, darling.